here. This is Mother Goose Knits, my podcast where I talk about knitting, spinning, and quilting, a little bit of quilting. Mostly knitting. I've been a knitter since 2009, and I currently live in Buffalo with my 3 kids and husband. And thank you for stopping by. I decided I wanted to try and do a kind of late, not super late, but kind of late, what I knit in 2023 video. I didn't do one last year for 2022, but I decided to do it this year. So let's get started. All right, I will go in chronological order. In total, I knit 18 items, 6 of which were hats. Yeah, in the interest of saving time, I'm gonna skip the hats. My son is taking a nap and I wanna actually try and get this done. All right, so first sweater that I did in 2023 was the Cargill Jr. by Rebecca Clow. This is the Cargill Jr. It is designed by Rebecca Clow of the Crea Bea. I did not use the required or requested yarn. I instead used the Karen Cloud Cakes. It was on clearance and it had this nice purple color that my daughter picked out. It's extremely soft. This is the second sweater I knit her with this yarn. It feels like cashmere. It's super soft. I believe it's 100% acrylic. And it comes in a giant cake, so I only used 1 skein to make this, and I had tons left over. I did not super enjoy the stitch pattern for this. I remember being on the last sleeve and just being like, oh, like it took me forever to finish and it's so small. And I'm not a big lace knitter. I find it tedious and annoying. I'm much more of a color work person. So, I just love the design of this sweater so much that I wanted to give it a shot. It's just really nice. My daughter likes it a lot. She wears it to school. And the yarn is held up. Definitely hand wash this yarn. Even though it's acrylic and it says that you can wash it in a machine on, cool and dry it on low. I would not recommend that. It will stop being soft if you do that. And she's worn this a bunch of times, and it's still nice and soft. So that's the Cargill Jr. Also, it was really inexpensive to make this, which, you can't help how long it takes to knit a sweater, but if you can save a little money, I guess I feel like I wouldn't be so upset if she accidentally left it on the bus or, snagged it or something like that. So I'm happy with the yarn choice for this. And plus it's soft, so she wants to wear it, which is always a plus. The last thing I want is to knit a sweater, spend money on a sweater for a kid, and then have her say like, oh, it's itchy and I don't want to wear it, So this worked out really well. The Cargill Jr. took me from December 17th, 2022 to January 28th, 2023 to finish. So it did take me longer than I would have expected for a small sweater. But that was just because I was lazy with the stitch pattern. Like I said, the next sweater I knit was definitely my biggest fail of the year. I am not happy with how the sweater turned out. And it is the Wednesday sweater by Petite Knit. This was an oversized sweater knit from top down. You knit back and forth at the yoke, then you attach it, you knit in the round, and you pick up for the big turtleneck and for the sleeves. Now, most of the reason why I didn't like this, how it turned out, was because of my yarn choice. I really liked this purple color and I liked the texture of it, and I was curious at how it would turn out. And it was the Red Heart Huga yarn, which was just obviously a bad choice now that I look back at it. It was like a bulky weight. yarn that had this sort of fuzzy thing held together with it. I think it was, I don't know if it was supposed to mimic like a regular worsted weight with mohair or what it was supposed to be. And it looked nice when you knit it up. The problem is it was very heavy. And so it just made for an uncomfortable sweater. And plus this is a very oversized sweater too. And it just feels heavy. It's just lumpy. It feels very frumpy. You know what I mean? So I was not happy with that. I also was not happy with how bulky this picked up seam for the sleeve is right here. It's a drop shoulder and it doesn't look right to me. I think it's probably mostly due to my yarn choice. And I think if I were to knit, I want to knit this pattern again. I'm just a little hesitant because I want to make sure I'm finding something that's light, like a yarn that's light. And I would like to use a mohair. I'm just hesitant to spend the amount of money I would need to spend in order to knit such a large sweater. And I'm kind of iffy on the pattern itself. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you make sweaters that you don't like. And that sweater took me from January 12th to February 20th to finish. Next is my Lowkey Cardigan by Woodlands Knits. This was my first Woodlands Knits pattern. I bought a set of, well, not a set, but I bought 3 at a time. And this was the first one I did. And it's this sort of really simple, oversized raglan cardigan that is knit from the bottom up in the round and then steeked at the end. And what drew me to the pattern was it was kind of a rustic looking cardigan. I really wanted something that I could wear in the garden during spring when I was, you know, it's a little bit chilly and you're trying to water stuff or plant stuff and the sun hasn't come out yet really. I wanted something I could throw on. Ooh. These crescent earrings are not safe. I keep catching my finger on them. Anyway, so I really do like this. This is like my gardening sweater. This was Lion Brand's Jiffy, and I really like this yarn. One thing that I was disappointed by was the fact that I messed up the buttonhole spacing here. It's a bit off, and you kind of get this little lump here. I mean, I wasn't planning on buttoning this anyway, especially not at the top, actually, but it's taller. So that's kind of annoying if I do want to button it. But generally I don't button cardigans anyway, so it's not a super big deal. This was my first time steeking and my first time knitting a bottom-up sweater. So that means you would knit the body all the way up and then knit the sleeves separately and then attach them at the underarm and then knit the yoke upwards, ending on the collar. Overall, I'm very happy with this pattern. I think if I knit it again, I would probably knit one size smaller. I believe I chose size 3. And for my other Woodlands Knits patterns, I ended up choosing a size 2, which fit a lot better. I started this on March 7th of 2023 and finished it April 23rd of 2023. Next sweater, see, we're getting now into spring and summer knits. Next is the Ranunculus. This was my first Ranunculus. Obviously this is Midori Hirose, very popular pattern. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about, and I love this pattern. It is very cute. I knit this in Loops and Threads creme cotton in the color cream. This was some leftover scrap yarn I had from, I believe, the Coffee House wrap that I had knit, I believe in 2021, something like that. And so I ended up doing a very cropped top with short sleeves. and I was wearing this over dresses, sundresses. And I really love this. I think it's really cute. My only mistake was in the back. I'm not a big lace work person, like I said. So I dropped a stitch here. I dropped a yarn over somehow. I think I dropped a yarn over somewhere and it got all messed up and I couldn't figure out what happened. And so I tried to do I tried to ladder, you know, pick up the stitch and go up to fix it. And it it did this weird, like there's this very tight, let me see if I can cover up my face here. It's this very tight spot right here where the stitches are much tighter together. But it is in the back, so I don't really care. I mean, this was a very quick, very fun scrap project, and I really like how it turned out. This was not the only ranunculus I knit this year. This is not in chronological order, but I'll just show the next ranunculus anyway. My second ranunculus is right here, and this was with Lion Brand's, it's called Lion Brand's Touch of Linen. And this is half linen, half cotton. And this color, I believe, is called Dijon. It's also short sleeve. It is cropped, but longer, so I can wear it with jeans instead of a dress. My only regret here was that I made these sleeves a little bit too long and I decreased a little bit. I think in the pattern, you're supposed to decrease around the wrist when you do a full length sleeve. I wanted to do a full length sleeve and then I got lazy and I didn't do it. So it goes down to my elbow and it kind of looks weird. My daughter suggested that I redo the sleeves because they look a little weird. So I might do that because I absolutely love this color. And I love how this color looks on with the ranunculus like pattern. And I kind of want long sleeves. So I'm gonna think about it. I have some more yarn left. I might redo the sleeves for this. Or I could just unravel this, make them a little shorter, do a really quick regular rib, and then bind off and make them just a little bit shorter, short sleeves instead of the elbow length. But I love this yarn. It's a very nice summer yarn. I've gotten compliments on it and I love the pattern. So that's my second ranunculus. This ranunculus I started on April 27th and finished it on May 1st of 2023. And this ranunculus I started on August 18th and finished August 27th. We're gonna go back to chronological order now. We're back to May of 2023. On May 3rd of 2023, I started knitting the Fisherman's Raglin by Woodlands Knits. And here is that. Fisherman's Raglin is another bottom-up sweater. It's knit in the round and it has this braided pattern, sort of a rib pattern here in the front. And the rib pattern is also on the raglan seam in the front and back. And it's got a turtleneck and just regular sleeves here. So I knit this with Yarn Bee's Rustic Romantic, which is a acrylic and hemp blend. So this texture you're seeing is the hemp bits. And I really like this yarn. For an acrylic yarn, I think this was an interesting, it looks interesting, it looks nice, and it is soft. It's softer than I anticipated. It felt like it would be a little scratchy or itchy when I was holding the, you know, the ball of yarn in the store. But wearing it, it's really nice. So, I mean, obviously if you're not an acrylic type person, then you wouldn't like it. But if you don't knit with animal products or can't for whatever reason, I do recommend this. It's got a really nice texture to it. And let's see, what did I change? Okay, so actually when I knit this, I decided to try my hand at a tubular cast on. I had never done a 2x2 tubular cast on before, and I just felt like it would look really nice with this pattern. So I tried that out and it worked. It worked nicely. Let me see. So that was not in the original pattern. And the Fisherman's Raglin, I started knitting on May 3rd and finished knitting on May 24th. This was surprisingly quick to knit up. I remember being pretty shocked that I finished a sweater in 21 days. So a quick knit, fun knit. The texture pattern was pretty easy to do and fun to do. And it wasn't overwhelming because it was just in the front. So I wasn't stuck doing the same pattern, you know, over and over and over again around the entire sweater. The next sweater I knit in 2023 was the Traveler by Andrea Mowry. And this is a bottom-up drop sleeve hoodie that is cropped. I did knit it a little bit shorter or a little bit longer because I was kind of afraid the cropped would be too short. However, if I were to knit it again, I would just knit it to the measurements she suggested, because I don't think that it would have been too short. This is definitely long enough. It sounds, because the ribbing right here, as you can see, there's 2 purls and 3 knits, and it creates this ribbing, and it does kind of, it's shorter when you're knitting it, and as you block it, it definitely grows a lot. So the crop, like the measurements she gives for the cropped body seem really short when actually they're not that short, if you know what I mean. So I would definitely, if I were to reknit it, do it to her measurements. Now the hood was really fun to make. It's just like a giant heel turn, and the ribbing pattern just, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a nice seam here, and the ribs kind of meet and change direction. It looks really nice. This is probably my favorite knit of the year, at least the most worn knit of the year. It's definitely cozy, easy to put on. The pattern was really, really nice. The drop shoulder extends out. So sometimes you'll see drop shoulder sweaters where it's just a rectangle and then the sleeve comes out this way. But this one, you know, you knit this way and then you increase so that the drop shoulder extends down a little farther. And that's really a lot more flattering, I think. So the Traveler hoodie, I started on April 24th and finished on July 2nd. So it took me quite a while. For me, this was a very small yarn to be working with. It's definitely, it's called a DK weight yarn, but it's definitely more of a sport weight yarn. So it took me a while, especially with the hood and everything added on to that. It took me about 10 weeks, I think, but totally worth it. Definitely one of my favorite knits of the year. Next up is another Andrea Mowry pattern. It is the Weekender, and that is right here. This is another bottom up drop shoulder pattern. This is like, I think it came out in 2017 or something. This is definitely one of her most popular patterns. It's kind of a boat neck, and it has this slip stitch seam down the middle, and you knit it inside out so that the right side, when you're finished, is actually all purl stitches. And I knit this with Barocco Remix in the worsted weight version. And I believe the color was Cameo Pink or something. This one is sort of a rectangle where you pick up and add the sleeves on the end. And My only regret about this pattern is that I didn't make it longer. I kind of wish I had done a longer ribbing at the bottom here. It's got a split hem, and I wish I had made it quite a bit longer actually. I also really wish that I had added short rows in the back. It really bothers me when sweaters don't have short rows in the back. It feels weird. I feel like it looks weird. So the back kind of rides up a little bit higher than I would like. And my ribbing did not compensate for that. Like, I feel like the back ribbing is supposed to be longer, maybe to compensate for the fact that there's no short row shaping in the back. Also, this yarn is a bit itchy. It doesn't feel like it would be itchy, but then when you put it on, it's like, there's just itchy bits in it that really ended up bothering me. So, I don't know. This was kind of an okay knit. I don't really wear it often. I don't know that I would make another one. I know a lot of people make the weekender sweater and they say that they just reach for it all the time. And I might, for that reason, I might want to try and knit it again. Now, I missed one of my tank tops that I knit. I forgot to mention it because I actually gave it away as a gift. It wasn't originally supposed to be a gift knit, but I ended up giving it away. It was camisole number 6 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And that was a worsted weight tank top where you knit each strap, you knit 4 straps, then sort of increase, connect the front, connect the back, then connect all of them in the round, and knit all the way down. And it had this ribbing, I think it was maybe 6 by 6 rib, something like that. And it was a really fun pattern to knit, but my yarn choice, I think, was just ended up being too warm. I chose a cotton. It was some scrap yarn, the creme cotton by Loops and Threads. And it was scrap yarn from a previous project. It was my coffee house wrap. I had several colors left over from that project. But I felt like it was just too thick and too warm to wear on days when it was like good to wear a tank top. I ended up giving away the tank top because my friend said she really liked it, and so I just mailed it to her. I said, if you don't like it, you can just do whatever you want with it. But I knew I wasn't going to wear it, so I gave it to her. She wanted me to knit her one, and I was like, no. I'll give you this one, but I'm not knitting another one. And I started that one on April 11th and finished that on April 24th. So it really didn't take too long to knit up. Obviously, it's a worsted weight tank top, so it shouldn't take too long. All right, so we're finishing up all the summer knits that I had done. The next one is camisole number 4 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And that is right here. This one is a fingering weight tank top. It asked, the yarn that the pattern asked for was a silk by, I believe, Knitting for Olive. But I used Araucania Itata Solids. This was a yarn that was in my stash. I had 2 skeins of it for 10 or 12 years or something like that. Like a really long time ago I bought it. I think I bought it in 2010. And I finally decided to use it. It felt like it was going to be itchy, but it's actually not too bad. You can see here I used mostly one skein, and then at the bottom I used the new skein, and you can tell the color difference right there. It looks like I dipped it in water. I thought this was going to be an impractical tank top. A lot of people had said that their bra shows through and that it stretches a lot. So I made the straps much shorter than I was thinking I should, hoping that, you know, when it stretched, it would stretch to the right amount. And I found that this covers my bra up pretty well, so I didn't have too much of a problem wearing it. And I was It took me a while to knit this because of the fingering weight, and I also didn't super love doing this broken rib. This one took me from May 23rd all the way until October 12th to finish. I definitely set this one down a lot. It felt like it was just taking forever to do the body. But in the end, I was really happy with it, and I might actually knit this one again. I've been practicing my Norwegian purl, and I'm much faster at it now, so maybe it won't bother me as much to knit another one of these. Next up is the Halloo sweater by Caitlin Hunter, and I am currently wearing it. But this is Halloo. This one I knit with Lion Brand Feels Like Alpaca, which is 100% acrylic, and it has this, it has this kind of fun little texture that makes it look a little bit natural. But I was drawn to it because, well, it was free. I got a free ball of yarn. I had to buy 2, get 1 free deal or something. So I just grabbed 1 skein of this yarn without any plans on how to use it. And then I saw this pattern, and it's sort of, the original yarn is Posy something. Let me find out. The yarn Caitlin Hunter suggested is Cozy Posy Yarn Co. And it was sort of this fiery orange color, which I just loved in the pictures. And so I thought, you know what? I have kind of this rust colored yarn that I want to try. And I did not enjoy knitting with this yarn. It's a 2-ply acrylic, so it was just splitty and it would catch, plus the addition of all the lace work, which I'm not usually a huge fan of. It was not fun to knit with this yarn. However, the pattern is so fantastic. I think it's beautiful. It's got these little baubles and this sort of flower design. It's got lace work here on the sleeves. And I love, love, love this V-neck. She did a beautiful job designing this. And I love this sweater. The Traveler is definitely my most worn sweater. And I think this might be my, design-wise, my favorite sweater. I really have to practice lace work because I think I will love it once I actually get used to it. I can't seem to like get the hang of the yarn overs, you know, like I can do them, but I feel like I have to stop and think about what I'm doing, and that kind of ruins the flow for me. I think that's probably my biggest problem with lace work. So maybe if I can get past that, I can do some more lace work sweaters. Like I really want to do Magnolia Bloom. That's another one that I love. So anyway, this is Halloo by Caitlin Hunter. And this one took me, let's see. I started this on July 20th and finished it October 14th. All right, so my last sweater of 2023 is the Arboreal Sweater by Jennifer Steingass. And this one I knit out of Cascade 220 Heathers. This is doeskin heather. And this is, the contrasting color is my hand spun. It's a BFL in the colorway Pumpkin Patch. And I purchased this from Friends in Fiber, I think. Yeah, Friends in Fiber. And I don't know if you can see the colors. The sun is going crazy through the window right now, so I had to close the shade. But this was my Road to Rhinebeck sweater. I was knitting this in the car on the way there. And I said that my hand spun, the colors of my hand spun was a perfect match for the fall foliage that we were admiring on the way over to Rhinebeck. So it was really fun to do this. I like that it's a leaf pattern because it's the autumn leaf colors. And actually, maybe you can see it better here. I have another skein of the pumpkin patch colorway that I'm knitting into a hat. If you can see, it's like orange and green and these sort of yellows. And I'm really happy with how it turned out here. I think that the yarn I spun up, it was very uneven. The thickness or the weight of the yarn was uneven. And I think this skein that I used was probably closer to a worsted weight, but the first skein I did is probably a little closer to a bulky weight. But it ended up just fine. I was a little afraid that using hand spun was going to change the size of the sweater because maybe my the yarn would get too bulky and like make it oddly shaped or lumpy or something, but it ended up working out really nicely. So I was very happy with this and very proud that I used my hand spun for the first time. Yeah, and I had purchased this doeskin heather color because I wanted to knit the heritage sweater with this and 2 more colors. But I ended up really not liking the color combination that I bought. So I kind of just had this in my stash and I really, really wanted to use this hand spun in a project. And so I thought, you know what? This kind of looks good together. I wouldn't have thought about it. And I probably would not have purchased this color to go with this hand spun. It was just in my stash. I had a sweater quantity that I wasn't going to use for anything, and it ended up working out really nicely. So this one I started on October 17th and finished on November 1st. So those are all of my sweaters that I knit in 2023. And thank you so much for watching if you've gotten this far. I enjoy watching everybody else's videos on what they knit throughout the year. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.